Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. Thanks so much for joining us today. This is the first of our Lunch and Learn sessions. We're obviously in very unprecedented times right now, as pretty much the entire country is preparing to work remotely and definitely move as much learning online as possible. So the purpose today is we're really hoping that we can help all of you. We know there's going to be a lot of new users using CourseArc and a lot of new content built in the short term. So we're going to be offering small chunks of information on best practices in using CourseArc. So today is the first one. So before we get started on the demonstration, I just wanted to take a couple minutes to talk about CourseArc because I think this is going to inform the way my demo will flow today. So there's really two main functions of CourseArc. The first is content authoring, and the second is content management. Content authoring is really talking about the practice of building, authoring the content inside CourseArc. So we allow organizations to build your content. Our tool makes it easy to use. We're going to ensure that the content is accessible. And our goal is to enable faculty, staff, teachers to create really engaging, interactive content to make the experience better for students. So the typical person that's going to be interested in content authoring would be, an instructional designer, teachers, professors, adjuncts, even people potentially in HR or in the private sector, more commonly referred to as SMEs or subject matter experts. So the other part of our tool is all about content management. So this is allowing an organization to control the content design and development process, including branding. So the key features of managing the content would be, user roles, permissions, version control, being able to tag and search for content, collaboration, feedback, project management tools, and then separating the styling from the development of content, meaning that, the theming and the branding, all of that is done by design teams, and then the content is done by the subject matter experts. So the roles in your organization that would be interested more so in the content management, again, they also might be instructional designers, that might be department chairs, curriculum specialists, program, project managers, stakeholders, and then also, anyone, an LMS admin or someone who's in IT. So I recognize there obviously might be different people who have different interests on the webinar. So we're going to speak to both of these. And then of course, some of you, you might have interest in both. So having said that, we are going to run this demo with, our fake company called Stark Industries. And we're going to be going through 3 different roles so you can understand it from both sides. So we have Tony Stark, who's a project manager, Pepper Potts, who's an instructional designer, and Stan Lee, who's the subject matter expert. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to walk you through CourseArc. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to use the chat tool or submit a question using the Q&A. There's a little question and answer button. And then again, we'll stop right around 12, at this point, probably like 12:18 or so for questions. So give me a second. I'm going to switch my screen. Everyone see my screen okay? Stacy, Jennifer, looking good?
Looks good.
Okay,
Yeah.
Great. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to log into CourseArc as Tony Stark. Remember, he is the project manager. He's the CEO of Stark Industries, and he has the role of being a project manager. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and going to stop my video for this part. And I'll turn my video back on once we get to the question phase a little bit later. Okay, so Tony has logged in to CourseArc, and what he's going to see as soon as he logs in is he's going to see the dashboard view, which is what you see here. So what I want to do is talk about up at the top the different things that he's going to see. So again, dashboard, this is going to take Tony back to the dashboard at any point. He's going to be able to click into the course view, the course management view, so he can click on a specific course or go to view all courses and see that. We're going to do more about that later. He also is going to have access to the file manager. So if he needs to upload files or look for a file, he can. And then Tony is also going to have access to the settings menu. Tony, again, he's a project manager, so he has a high level of access. So he's pretty much seen everything that can be seen in CourseArc. We're not going to go through all of these menus today, but most of these are very high level administrative functions. We will be talking about users, but I just want to let you know this is what his main navigation or the main menu is going to look like for Tony. In addition, he's going to be able to log out here, and he's also going to have a help link. And so again, if you're new to CourseArc, I would recommend that the first thing that you do when you log in is you open up this help link. It's going to open up in a new window. This is our knowledge base, and you can use this to search for topics. So for example, I am going to be talking about user roles today, and you'll be able to, if you're curious or you weren't sure, you want to go back and refer to something that I might have talked about, you can use that. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to the dashboard, but perhaps Jennifer, you or Stacy could add the link to help in the chat so they have that as a reference. Okay, so the purpose of the webinar today is I really wanted to take you guys through the different views of CourseArc. So the first view here, again, is the dashboard. The dashboard is split into 3 sections. So you have to-dos, you have your courses, and you have comments. So what I can see on my dashboard right away is I can see anything that has been assigned to me, all right? So Tony's going to go ahead and he's going to click the View More button. And what that's going to do is that's going to take him to the to-do view of CourseArc. So this is the first view that I wanted to share with you. What Tony likes about this is he's not only going to see his tasks, but if there are other tasks in other courses that he's working on, he can see all of those tasks. So for example, he can see some stuff that Stacy's done as well in other courses. So he's going to have a lot more information here. And Tony really, really likes this because it's going to give a lot of transparency and accountability for all members of the team. So again, this is the to-do view. So Tony's now going to go back to the dashboard. And then also similar to to-dos, there's a comment area. So he's going to click on View More Comments. And again, very similar to to-do, it's hard to say, is the comment page. So this is going to be a view that shows you all of the comments based on the courses that you are enrolled in. Again, Tony can see everything. If he's interested in one specific thing, which I know he is, so if he is interested, for example, in the security course, he can go ahead and search for that and filter it out, and then he can click on this link and it will take him directly to the course. So again, Tony really likes both the comments and the to-do features because he can see at a glance what's going on, and he really likes that. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the dashboard. We've covered comments and to-dos. The third area is the courses, the course view. Tony has a really long list of courses. Again, he has a high level of access in CourseArc. He's able to see everything. So he's going to immediately go to View All Courses. And again, he knows exactly what he's interested in working on. So he's going to search for that. You can see with this view, this is really going to allow some of that course management functionality that I talked, or content management functionality that I talked about earlier. So Tony's going to be able to filter, search for things. He's going to be able to deactivate courses. He can add tags. He can also edit courses and add new users. So he's going to be able to manage a lot of the courses that are happening in this one view called the course view. So I know that he is interested in his Stark course. So Tony's going to go into this course and take a look at what's going on. Okay, so to click on this course, to enter this course, he's just going to click the link. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And you'll see now that I'm in a new view. All right, so now I'm in the course view. You'll notice up here, as my view changes in CourseArc, I'm always going to have a cookie trail or navigation that builds up at the top. So if I ever need to get back to the dashboard, I can just click there, or of course I can click at the top, the main menu. But now I'm in the Manage Course view. And what this is this is going to show me all of the modules or chunks of content that are in this course. It's a very simple view. Again, based on Tony's role, he's going to see different things. So he, is going to have different permissions and different functionality that he's able to perform. Tony is interested specifically in the security awareness module that's being built. So I'm going to go ahead and click in there. And in this view, he sees all the pages of content in a table format. And what's really great about this is Tony can see at a glance very quickly the status of all of the pages of content. So he sees right here that there is a pre-assessment that's ready for his approval. He's going to click on that page of content. So now Tony's in the page view. And so I know we're moving kind of fast. We're going over a lot of views. So I just want to recap that. I'm going to go back one more time to show you. So we have the dashboard. We went into the course. This was the course view. We went into the module. This is the module view. And now Tony is in the page view. And he has this navigation, so he's never going to get lost. The page view is what most of you are going to spend the majority of your time on in CourseArc. This is where all the content is built and modified, revised, and edited. The page view is divided into 3 sections. So you have the navigation on the left, you have content that's in the middle of the page that's built, and then you have your editing pane on the right. Okay? All right, so again, the purpose of this demo today is we're just going to go over the basics of all the views. So I'm not going to get into too much about building content, but I did want to show you that there's a couple things that Tony has in his view that are unique to him. So for example, he wants to review this pre-assessment. He can do that. He can go ahead and approve it. He also can add comments and tasks directly from here. So if he wants to add something, to Pepper, let's say he wants to, add a new question, he can go ahead and add a task to Pepper on his team. He also can add comments, looks great. And these comments will be sent to all the team members as a default. If he wanted to, he could just send the comment to Pepper or to Stan. So there's a lot of information and features that Tony can do just on that one page. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and pause for a minute. Again, just recapping before I switch views. So we went through, looked at CourseArc from the view of Tony Stark. He's a project manager, so he's in CourseArc with the highest level of permissions. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to log in, and I'm going to go in as Pepper. And I want to show you guys the difference. Okay, so I just logged in as Pepper. Remember, Pepper is an instructional designer that works for Tony. You should notice right away that Pepper does not have the same level of access as Tony. So Pepper does not see the file menu, and she also does not have access to the settings. And that's because she does not have the same level of access. So there's certain things that she cannot do. She does have access to the help. She also has the dashboard. The dashboard, again, it's going to look very, very similar to her. But you can see she doesn't have as many courses listed here. So there's just not as much that she's involved with, which is fine. So Pepper logs in. Again, she's an instructional designer, and she sees that she has a task assigned to her from Tony. She wants to make sure that Tony's happy. So the first thing she's going to do is she's just going to click on that and take care of it. So again, we were just on this page. By clicking on that link, Pepper is going to come directly to the pre-assessment page. She's going to be able to edit the page if she wants. She can see the comments. And again, this is going to be great. She loves this because everything's very transparent. And she can check off that she's done what she needed to do. And then Tony will obviously see that that's been done. Really, really great. There's different roles and different views, and you can create a system and enroll people to meet the needs of your own specific organization. It's very, very flexible. Okay, so lastly, I wanted to log out. I'm going to log back in as Stan Lee. And Stan is a subject matter expert. Stan has been known to overwrite other people's work. He does his own thing. He doesn't really listen to directions. So Tony has only given Stan commenting access. So you can see here, Stan's view looks a little bit different. Again, he has the same, he has the dashboard view. So he has tasks here, he has his courses, but you can see there's a lot less that he has access to. So I'm going to go ahead and click inside the Stark Industries course that I showed you, and just wanted to show you a couple of things that are different about his view. So now you're in the course menu, the manage course view, and you can see here that Stan, based on his permissions, he doesn't have any of the functionality that Tony had, or even that Pepper had. So he can't copy stuff, he can't move it. All he can do is go in and view it. So he's going to click on this module. Again, same thing. He has all the pages, and he's able to click on them and view them, but he can't actually modify them, resequence them like the other team members. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the pre-assessment page. Again, this is the same page that we have been on before, and you can see that the other key thing here is that Stan's editing panel is very different. It's basically non-existent. He doesn't have an editing panel. So he can't edit the page, he can't do anything. So what he can do though is he can add a comment. So he could say, I don't like the last question. And he can send that, as only Stan would. So what I wanted to do is stop and sum up what I've done at this point. So we've explored two things in CourseArc. So the first was we looked at different views. We looked at the dashboard. Specifically, we looked at the 3 sections. We looked at commenting, to-dos, and courses. We also looked at the main menu across the top of the page. And then finally, we also looked at the course, the module, and the page view. So what I wanted to do before we stop and take questions is one final thing, and I need to log in as Tony to show you guys this. Many of the things that I just showed you were all done based on permissions. So I wanted to touch briefly on that. CourseArc has 2 types of roles. So again, all the roles are set if you go to settings in users. And I'm going to go ahead and proactively ask Jennifer or Stacy if you could link to the user role article in the help menu. So I'm just going to I'm going to go to Stan Lee here. So what I wanted to show you is when there's 2 types of roles in CourseArc. So there's a global role, which means that this role is applied at the system level. And so this supersedes any other type of role. So when you create a user in CourseArc, that's when you can assign a global role. You can also go back and edit any user and make it, add something. So I just wanted to show you Stan, he does not have any global role. All right, I'm going to go back to the users. I'm going to show you Pepper, just to show you how the difference. Again, Pepper has no global role. However, Tony does have a global role. He's both a system admin and a course admin. And so that was the key difference of why he was seeing things that the other 2 didn't see. So that's the global role. All right, that's the first thing I wanted to mention. The second type of role that we have is called a course role. So I am going to go back and open up the course that we were working on. So the course roles are applied at the course level. So you can, right now I'm at the course view, you can add a course role at the course level or at the module level. So right here, I'm in the course. To change the roles, you would hit edit. I'm going to go ahead and hit edit. Sorry, my dog's barking. I'm working at home like the rest of the country. So you can see here that these are all the roles that are available at the course level. So Tony is the course leader. He's also the approver. And then Pepper was added as an editor and Stan was added as a commenter. What's great about the course roles is these can change from course to course or project to project. So what I mean by that is there might be another course where Pepper's the course leader, and maybe she's also the approver. So your course role can vary between courses. Your global role is set. And like I said, the global role supersedes everything else. So if someone were to add Tony as a commenter in another course, he still could see everything because he has that global role. So we really try to make sure that the roles that we have and the permissions, can fit your organization and help you quickly onboard users and also help support collaborative development. And the reason, again, the reason we wanted to start with this as our first topic for the Lunch and Learn series was we know people are going to be adding users and really ramping up development. And so we wanted to make sure that, that you really understood this, as you move forward, because, there's going to be a huge increase in users.